Yeah, how's it going, guys? It's Richie Unicorn Caller here, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We are back. It is Monday. No news today, but we have a top 10 video idea from you guys because apparently you guys want to see a top 10 video series. So if you really do like it, make sure to leave a comment below about any other ideas that you might like and subscribe and like and all that stuff. So let's just get right into it. I wrote down a couple of stuff that I believe Carlos has sent and also some additional stuff. So I thought that we could talk about this together. Now, obviously, just a big disclaimer that probably 99% of the stuff will never happen in the game. These are just ideas from the community, basically ideas from you. So yeah, let's just get right into it and talk about everything, or at least most things, and in no particular order, right? Number one, there should be more name and gender changes, and also more additional names, right? And if you guys don't remember, a while back, we had the whole name and gender change situation. That was really good. A lot of people want additional names, though, that aren't available at the moment. So it would be cool to kind of see them add in more stuff to the Magic Mirror shop, such as more names, obviously, and maybe some more name and gender changes, because right now you can only do it like once permanently and that's it. So maybe they can add in a little bit of an elixir. Maybe want to try it for a third time or something like that, or maybe they can't do that because their coding or the technology can't necessarily handle that, or they just don't want people to like keep changing over and over again. But that is one of the ideas that I thought would be interesting. And I think especially additional names would be pretty cool too. I think that would be really cool to see, right? Here is another one, which I'm sure a lot of people have talked about this for years and years, but can we please get some sort of pet reroll elixir? You ever level up a pet and you just get that really, really bad talent that you really want? I can show you a couple of pets that have failed multiple times, and let me just say I've always wanted to reroll that particular talent. Now, that's another thing that I don't think they have the technology for, but that would be a pretty cool idea because you could have a way of getting that perfect pet, or at least if they could have an elixir for that and just recycle through the talents, I think that would be a great idea too, because pet training does cost a lot of energy and it can become quite resourceful. So I just think that would be a cool idea in general, but if not, hey, that's pretty cool. That's pretty fine if not, but hey, that's just a general idea. Now, number three, which we I think talked about like briefly, but a lot of other people have talked about it, and KI has also talked about this next part a lot. But a color wheel and more cool dyeable outfits would also be pretty cool in the game. So right now I'm wearing a raid gear. This is from the Crying Sky raid, and it's not dyeable. You can't change its color or anything like that. And a lot of people expressed interest in having some sort of color wheel, or at least more dyeable clothes. Now for the color wheel part, I'm pretty sure that the devs have mentioned numerous times that for some reason on the technology scale they can't necessarily do it, and they mentioned how it would be way too much work just to go over some of the old year or new year and just add in more color options. It's a whole process. You can ask them yourselves, but I have heard them say that multiple times. And it's 2026. I'm sure it's a little outdated by now. We should have it now, but we don't. It just would be cool to have more amazing beautiful colors and just more gear that can also change colors as well. Lately, we've been getting a lot of gear where you can't really change its color. It's usually set into like two, and that's pretty much it, right? They started doing that a little bit better with stuff like the challenge mode stuff. So stuff like the Selenopolis, the Aquila challenge mode stuff, you can change like the colors for that. But nowadays, just for regular gear, you can't really dye it or change its color, right? It would be cool to see that improve or at least change a little bit, right? And then number four, this one's pretty interesting, but different display name colors, which is also pretty interesting. So as you guys know, everybody has a blue name, right? And if you join a group, I think it turns into like light blue, or if you have a friend, it turns into like a little bit of light purple. But let's just say you had that really cool badge and you really wanted to just change your badge. Well, I'll show you what some people might mean by this and probably why KI can't implement it. I'll go to here, I'll go to no title, and then boom, my name is green. So this is the Professor's Assistant badge. It was granted in the extra credit program, which is currently dead at the moment, but I believe it should be getting a little bit of a remodel around the spring or summer. Well, it is spring, so I think summer. But whenever I put this badge on, everybody seems to swarm because they never seen a green name before. I think the developers also will have a green name, but typically I don't wear this badge because number one, it's drawing a lot of attention as right now, and number two, it gets rid of the guild badge, and number three, I just think that there are cooler badges besides Professor's Assistants. Stuff like the raid badges, like the Ender of Death or the 1% of the 1%. I just think there are cooler badges out there, but it still would be cool to have that as a little color, like a color toggle option for the badge, right? But that's just, I don't know if they have the technology for that. Like I said, for all these, I don't know if they can possibly do it. Probably not, but that's just an idea that people had. So maybe if you had a particular badge, maybe your name could like sparkle or have a different color effect, right? Pretty cool stuff, right? And it's a pretty cool idea. People just want to be noticed. I'm still getting noticed right now. This dude's in a barrel. I love it. The man, the myth, the legend, Malik. Yes, sir. Shout out to Malik. He got the Malus Rexus badge, man. That's pretty dope. Alright, so I don't want to ignore him. I just want to keep going on with the video. I'm not ignoring you, Malik. I'm sorry. But anyway, let's talk about the next thing, right? And this is for the vaults. So let's just say I want to put my treasure cards somewhere. And let me just say, I have a lot of treasure cards, okay? I got a lot of treasure cards. I don't need all these treasure cards. I just want to throw them in somewhere and hoard items like I already do with the gear vault. So give me a treasure card vault. I've said this multiple times. If you guys don't know, the treasure card vault was slated for a spring update, but then they scrapped it because they said they didn't want people to hoard treasure cards. They get so weird about it. I actually learned something that people on the European servers actually have the treasure card vault back when they were with Gameforge or whatever. So it's actually pretty interesting that they get it, but we can't get it, or why, you know, the philosophy. And that's the thing about all these, you know, ideas. You know, if it doesn't fit KI's philosophy or their little gaming ideology, then they're not gonna even consider it. But that's why we're making this video, as to kind of just brainstorm ideas, and we're gonna keep doing these videos probably just to kind of show you guys, you know, all these great ideas that you guys have, right? But it would be cool to have a treasure card vault, you know, a deck vault, elixir vault, all that stuff. Now, obviously, you can throw all that stuff in the bank, but what if I'm someone that doesn't want to throw it in the bank, right? What if I'm someone that wants to put a treasure cards in somewhere else, especially when we have to get all of these Azoth pieces just to make a Meta 11 raid key, right? But let's also talk about trading, because trading, I think, is a little overdue or a little outdated in Wizard101. So right now, you can only trade treasure cards in the game, right? Which is fair. But I feel like we're at a point where we should be able to trade a little bit more than just treasure cards. So stuff like reagent, or even gear, or even furniture. I just feel like right now, trading treasure cards doesn't really do much. And you can just get on an alt account and just throw your treasure cards on that as a treasure card vault, FYI. But the thing I want to see is a little bit more of the community interacting with each other a little bit more. I would love to give gear away to people, and obviously there could be restrictions. You wouldn't be able to get this type of gear. You would have to raid to get that gear. but it still would be cool to see the community trade a little bit more rather than just treasure cards and trying to snipe stuff in the bazaar, as KI has said is not the main intention of the bazaar to buy items instantly from another player. They have mentioned that, they said that. I don't know why they feel so passionate about not trading in this game. There are games like Fusion Fall which are quite the opposite. You can trade gear and even send gear, or at least send gift boxes in people's mail in the Fusion Fall. Man, it's actually kind of crazy how old Fusion Fall is, but also how ahead of the times they are. And then you have Wizard101 that's still kind of behind on times. It almost feels like they're still stuck in like a 2008 mindset. But hey, that's just my main thought. Okay, just relax. Hey, we're almost done. We are almost done. Just relax, okay? Let's go on to number 7, and this is about guilds. Now, my guild had to cancel the raid yesterday for the Azteca or the Crying Sky raid because number 1, we don't get enough signups, and number 2, a lot of people can't get on at the same time. And just number 3, raiding can become very stressful and a little bit obnoxious. So here's a few things that I think can alleviate that or make guilds and raiding a little bit better. Now, this isn't to say that we might be getting some of this stuff in the summer update or in the future update. I don't know. But at the moment, in my opinion or in my eyes, raiding is kind of dead in the game. And I'm sure that's not what they want, because at that point, they would just be making content for only a couple players. And I'm sure they want more people to be invested in raiding. But at the moment, raiding is not fun in this game. It really is not fun. So let's talk about it. I think that you should be allowed to join multiple guilds just like adventure parties. Okay, now they had something going with adventure parties. And for some reason they stopped. I don't know why they stopped, but they had a really good thing going with the adventure party. You can join up to 3, right, for a max of like 16 players in each adventure party, right? Obviously the size was small, but I still go back to the adventure parties just because of how interesting it was. Or obviously the fact how there's no cooldown to join the adventure party, and also you can join up to 3. For a guild, it's quite the opposite. You can only join 1 guild, and then if you decide to leave or want to join another one, you'll be placed on a 2-week cooldown. And that can kind of limit your ability to join multiple guilds. And as I just said, it would be cool if you can join up to 3, or if they decide to raise the account spaces. Right now, we're pretty much full. This guild is pretty much full because there's too many accounts. And people like Lauren will have at least 3 or 2 alt accounts in here. So those also take up a lot of spot. In general, 60 account spaces isn't enough, right? It started off at 50 and then they bumped it up to 60, right? So by plus 10 in one of the other updates. But again, that's not enough room. And I don't understand, and again, if it doesn't fit their gaming philosophy, they won't even consider it. But I don't understand, like, why they're so hesitant, you know? It should just be 100 account spaces, which sounds like a lot, but in general, most of these are Z's, because a lot of people, in general, don't play this game anymore, right? They really don't. And it's kind of sad because the spring update, I know everybody's tired of me talking about it, but this spring update was genuinely just a flop, right? It genuinely just was not fun. And here's the thing, right? Here's what I think should also happen, right? Besides them adding the ability to join multiple guilds and a little bit of an additional guild space, right? I also think that removing the 2-week cooldown entirely should also be gone. And in other games I have mentioned, there's not really a 2-week cooldown. It's usually up to like 24 hours or something like that. 2 weeks just to join another guild just seems a little insane to me. Alright, a little insane to me. So they did a little bit of an update where the cooldown only affects you once you join that new guild directly. But if you wanted to join another one, or if you were just super bad already, you still gotta wait that 2 weeks to join another guild. But in general, that guild cooldown should just go away. And again, it's something about the gaming philosophy. I don't know what it is, but they just don't see that the cooldown is much of an issue, right? And I also think the gate cooldowns should also go away. Just let people play the game, right? Why are there so many cooldowns for guilds? It seems very restrictive, and it also seems like another reason why a lot of people don't do raids or even join a guild to begin with, right? And also, can we just stop with the whole key requirements? I mean, I'm really tired of farming raid keys. I know it's supposed to be a team effort, but again, when you have such, I wouldn't say a dying game mode, but just a game mode where a lot of people aren't really playing, making those raid keys can become very monotonous and it become very boring. I just hope the raid keys go away in general. You can just go up to the raid gate, and then if you get the certain amount of players, everybody magic touch the raid gate and then just go into the raid, right? I feel like that would also be less stressful on a lot of guilds in general, just because, again, farming that Azoth, especially when you need stuff like 600 Azoth, and then you need some treasure card space. You gotta sell your treasure card space, but you wouldn't need to do that if you could just have a treasure card vault. So then you have to make an alt account in order to throw your Azoth to that alt account. So again, raids in guilds in general is not fun. And that's fine because raids aren't that overly difficult, but the developers are making it one of the most inaccessible game modes in the entire game. So that's kind of sad. And I honestly feel bad for them. And I don't think no amount of updates is going to change that, unfortunately. And while we're on the topic of raids, let's talk about something else that a lot of players just in general don't like. The whole spell banning situation, right? So when they ban a spell, it is banned from pretty much all the advanced content, right? So for example, Dryad, you can't use Dryad in PvP advanced content such as challenge mode and any challenge mode boss rematches or anything like that, and raids. And so that's when it kind of gets to the slippery slope. Now, I've said it for years that if they want to ban something for PvP, just ban it for PvP, but leave it alone for PvE raids or PvE challenge modes, because that's just for the PvE experience. If you really want to focus on the PvP experience, that's fine. But when you ban a spell directly, such as like Entangle, because that was used for the Ghastly Conspiracy raid, and also Elemental Dispel, which was also used for the Voracious Void raid. Stuff like that can really hurt a lot of strategies. And I just feel like we're getting to a point where every spell just keeps getting banned over and over and over again, to the point where some raids are just going to become impossible to do. So it gets to that slippery slope where, you know, maybe if they can just add a way to separate these spell bans, then maybe a lot of people might be more interested in doing the advanced content. And it also would be kind of cool to see different strategies be formed with some of these spells. But again, it's their philosophy. If they don't want to do it, that's fine. But I just think that it's kind of getting to the point where it's like, what's the point of using these spells? What's the point of getting the spell mints, which we will talk about in a different video? But what's the point if you can't even use them, man? What's the point? It's getting a little redundant. I don't know. You just ban all the spells. Might as well just ban all the spells at this point. Just get rid of raids. Now here's another one for number 9 of our ideas. Passive membership benefits. This has been talked about a lot. As you guys know, KingsIsle loves double pet XP. They literally spam it every week, almost all the time. You rarely see stuff like zero energy fishing, and it can become really concerning. So I suggest, and I'm sure everybody else has suggested it, but passive membership benefits should just be active so long as you have a membership, right? If you're waiting for free energy fishing, there's really no point to get a membership anytime soon, because they don't ever use it anytime soon. It's always double pet XP, right? But if it was something that was passive, you would be more inclined to not only get a membership, but also keep that membership, right? So stuff like free training point buyback, that can be passive. I really don't think that it needs its own dedicated day. And I could go even further to say that, training point buyback should cost gold, but I think they have expressed their saying that that's probably not going to happen. And also stuff like double assignment rewards, double scroll point, all that stuff I think should just in general be passive. It shouldn't have its own dedicated day, right? But that's just my 2 cents. You can say whatever you want. That's just my 2 cents. And then lastly, probably one of the biggest things that this community has asked for almost over a decade, and we still don't have it, but I personally think that the first arc should be completely free, right? I mean, we've been in this game since 2008. Right now, I think it's about to be their 17th birthday or 18th birthday. I think 17th. But it's getting to the point where this game is getting old and you want to leave a good impression on people. So going all the way up to the main hub of Crocotopia isn't really necessarily going to do much, right? I don't think that's really going to amount to anything. I think that all the way up to Wizard City and Dragonspire should be the good stopping point, right? Now, for some reason, that has been a very tough conversation, and maybe they have the data on why they won't do that. Maybe it would be too much of a high risk. Maybe they're not willing to take that higher risk, but I'm sure a lot of players would genuinely appreciate it, right? But at the moment, you can only go all the way up to like the main hub of Crocotopia, and then after that, you will need a membership, right? And that's the thing about this game, is that the paywalls are ridiculous. I don't think that the whole entire game should be free, because obviously they're a business. We already went over this. They still gotta make money. But I just genuinely do think that the first arc wouldn't really be detrimental to them in a business standpoint. But I don't have the data for that. I'm sure they had the data for that, and that's why they will not ever make the first arc completely free. I mean, it was even a stretch that they made Wizard City completely free, right? And for the longest time, that was paywalled off. But I think it would definitely be cool. And when I say first arc, I mean all of the areas. So that includes stuff like Darkmoor, Mount Olympus, Wizard City Underground, all that stuff. Let players play it, experience it firsthand, and let them discover the game a little bit, right? But I don't know. At the end of the day, though, it's a business. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. And that's going to wrap it up for today's videos. Today is top 10 video. Sorry that it was long, but I just wanted to share my thoughts about that. Super passionate about this game, as you guys are. And obviously, if you guys have any other types of ideas, I would really love to hear them in the comments below. And maybe this could be a whole little video series where we just take your guys' ideas and basically just talk about it, right? And a huge shout out to Carlos for the idea. Super awesome stuff. So until then, I will see you guys later, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Shout out to Malik. Sorry I didn't say hi to him. Shout out to him. And yeah, until then, have a wonderful day, and peace out.